This really is a key component of cellular therapies. And the way we define durability, it's good to review, is the partial or complete response to treatment over the course of, let's say, 6 months to several years. And it really is a key component for these cellular therapies. And it's important to consider that the pricing and reimbursement allows for one-dose treatment. And the manufacturing of these therapies is quite different than biologics and small molecules. And that's a very complex logistic challenge, and the one-shot captures the effect of the cell therapy over a long time period. So in order to measure durability, it's important to use the right clinical biomarkers so we can track the disease progression over the time period. And for some patients, this could take several years. The longest patient, I believe, that's been treated with Kymriah now has survived up to 6 years. And the reimbursement for durability has to involve a consideration of quality of life of the patient and symptom-free survival. And I think with those considerations, the pricing and reimbursement really seems to make sense. I think part of the answer here is really making sure we can educate the stakeholders that are involved, the patients, the clinicians, hospitals, and the payers. For example, I'm working with the American Society of Gene and Cell Therapy, ASGCT, where we have education plans that are based on cell therapy, disease-specific groups, and we're working with patient advocacy groups to educate the stakeholders. And the sponsors, the drug companies that are making these therapies are also working with payers to make sure that there's clear understanding of the reimbursement and the impact of these therapies for the patient's quality of life. Okay, this is actually a great question. And it's important to consider that the two therapies are constructed somewhat differently, even though they have the same antigen specificity. Kymriah has a 4-1BB co-stimulatory domain and the chimeric antigen receptor, the CAR, whereas Yescarta has a CD28 co-stimulatory domain. And there is some data to indicate that the 4-1BB domain may allow greater durability for these therapies. But it's important to consider that recently a report that's released by ICER, the Institute for Clinical and Economic in the US, has actually compared the two and finds them both to be equal in the value for the money, essentially. They did economic analysis of these two therapies. And since now Kymriah has been approved for large B-cell lymphoma, which is the same approval for Yescarta, we'll be able to see a head-to-head comparison. And Kymriah has indicated that they may be matching the price for Yescarta, so we'll have same pricing, same disease, same patient population. It's just difficult for us to conclude what the relative value is because we just don't have data over thousands of patients. We really need to get data over, we have maybe hundreds of patients so far. And we'll really be able to see the impact of durability as we get the opportunity to track these patients with the same disease with these two different treatments over time. Right, so definition of cure. So I'm going to go on a limb to attempt to answer this. This is a tricky one, but it might be important for us to consider these leukemias, lymphomas, and myelomas, these liquid tumors. It might be important for us to consider this as a chronic treatable disease that the patient lives with over the whole lifetime. I mean, similar to HIV, for example, or different infections that are treated but not eliminated. So I'll go on a limb and maybe consider that we can use control rather than cure, different C word. And if we approach these therapies in this manner, I think we'll see that the reimbursement really does make sense for these therapies, and the durability will push out that zone where we can actually provide quality of life to patients and allow them to have control over the cancer over multiple years with one dose treatment.